Simmons. Simmons going to drive downhill. Floater falls. Simmons going over the top.
Now Deck to try to get the Lumberjacks the lead, and she will! Chance for a three-point play.
3-2 to the basket, puts it up, no! Hammer dunk with 1 second left!
You know, I really hope that that's not going to be an omen to my night with my audio here. It capped out on my video there. I decided to change up the intro tonight for this Straight Outta WAC After Hours to some epic shots, I guess you could say. The Ariane Simmons floater that gave ACU a wild comeback, epic win at SFA on Saturday. Kyla Deck with an and one. She had 30-plus points in SFA's epic comeback at Abilene Christian. They outscored the Wildcats by 20 points in the fourth quarter alone. All right. And then Samantha Johnston hits the three to send the game into overtime at Utah Valley. Went into double overtime when the Thunderbirds came out on top. And then obviously we all know about Kobe Williamson dunk, two-handed dunk off the Alex Schumacher missed layup that was eerily similar to a couple weeks ago when they beat CBU, where Schumacher drove to the hoop, threw up a shot, missed it. Kobe Williamson, offensive rebound, put back game. Chris Victor draws up that play. I think he has it in his back pocket, knowing when to use it, knowing, you know, what defenses are going to do, where Kobe's going to find that open shot or that open putback. So welcome to the Straight Outta WAC After Hours show. I'm sorry we didn't do it on Saturday. I was in Cedar City. Didn't have an Ethernet cable at America First Event Center, so I didn't want to do it with Wi-Fi where it kicks out, kicks on. I hope my audio is coming through. It looks like it is. It looks like we're connected. It looks like we're good. So hopefully it stays that way. Daryl's going to join me in a little bit. We're going to talk some WAC hoops. But, yeah, I was in Cedar City. Fun ball game. Daryl just joined. I'll bring him in just a minute. Fun ball game between the Wolverines and the T-Birds. Utah Valley got up by about 9 with about 4 minutes to go. Then Southern Utah chipped back at it. Drake Allen had 18 points and 9 assists playing in his old arena. He was with Southern Utah last year. Zion Young clanked off a three, back iron. It looked good out of his hand. Man, that would have been epic. It was like shades of the WAC semifinal from last year, where Utah Valley was out to a big lead. Then Southern Utah started chipping away, got down, eventually took the lead on that 4-point play by Tevin Jones. So anyways, if you're watching, share, comment, like, subscribe, whatever you want. It's good to have you here on the Straight Outta WAC After Hours. Daryl's going to join me in just a second. But before we get to that, before we get to all of what we're going to talk about, remember that all session tickets for the 2024 WAC tournament, brought to you by Hercules Tires, are on sale right now. Go to wacsports.com/WAC Vegas. $150 ticket to watch 14 games over 4 days. That's pretty awesome. So go get your tickets now for all session tickets. We may do a drawing here come March 1st, maybe, for some all session tickets. Maybe start commenting or liking or sharing this. Maybe if you're going to go to WAC Vegas, we will maybe get you some all session tickets. We will be down there. I know I will be. Not sure if Daryl will be. I hope he is, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's bring in Daryl. Daryl, it is good to see you from good old California right now. How is the weather? It was a pretty nice day here in Utah.
It's raining again here. CBU softball had to postpone a game with Hawaii scheduled for tomorrow.
Oh, that's wild.
A lot of high school baseball and softball getting postponed here because of rain early part of the season, so we hate to see it. But it is CIF Southern Section Championship week for basketball and soccer out here.
Very nice. Very nice. Everybody, like I said, we got some viewers. Comment if you're watching. Tell me where you're watching from. Share a thought about Saturday's games. Share a thought maybe about the upcoming games this week. There's a couple big ones on the plates for some teams. If you didn't get a chance, go to WACHoopsNation.com and check out my article. It broke down the men's basketball kind of my projection of who's getting into WAC Vegas, what their seed is going to be. But there are so many scenarios that could play out over the next 2.5 weeks. Like, it is wild. Like, it is completely wild. And I am looking forward to it because it's going to be awesome. I know I'll be in Orem Thursday and Saturday when UTRGV comes and plays Utah Valley, and then SFA is at Utah Valley on Saturday. So, and things got crazy on the women's side too, Daryl. Like, CBU knocking off GCU in Riverside to tie that series, or tie the, the Lopes and the Lancers sitting atop the WAC standings, and then the Lady Jacks, who looked all but dead in that race, they're still alive now after that epic comeback win. And then Southern Utah pulls off the win over Utah Valley, who had beat CBU on Thursday. So,
yeah, I've got a lot to say about what transpired on Saturday. I'm going to start with that first game, that SFA ACU game. I mean, I thought the Lady Jacks were completely dead, and then
they were.
And then all of a sudden, that full court pressure just took its toll on ACU. I mean, I thought the Wildcats would be able to break that, even without Aspen Thornton as the primary ball handler. But
let's point out here, ACU was ahead. Let's see, what is that? 4, 6 by 13 entering the fourth quarter. They got outscored by 19 in the fourth quarter. And SFA left Abilene, West Texas, with an 89-83 win. Like, that to me is crazy in and of itself, that you get outscored by 19 in the fourth quarter of a ball game at home. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You saw it. You were paying attention more than I was, but wow.
Yeah, I even said it on Saturday. SFA could not afford a fifth loss if they were going to stay in the regular season race. A fifth loss would have put them into the kind of that Wednesday fighting to not play on Wednesday area of the standings. But with this win, this comeback, they're still 2 back. They still have CBU and GCU in Nacogdoches.
Yep.
They're just going to need a little bit of help.
Yeah, I mean, this race for the WAC regular season title on the women's side, not even close to being done. Like, if we're being real, it's not even close, because Grand Canyon and CBU still have to play each other in Phoenix on March 9th to end the regular season.
A place that Jared Olson has never won in the Division I era.
And they both have to go to SFA, I believe it's next week, not this week, next week, before they play each other in the regular season finale. So, if
not to mention UT
wins both those games,
they're right back in this thing.
Yeah,
and not to mention UTA still has to visit Riverside.
Yeah. It's so wild, guys. We're talking about the regular season title on the women's side. On the on the other side of it, Southern Utah played itself into WAC Vegas with that win over Utah Valley. But then you got UTRGV, Tarleton, Utah Valley, all the 4 wins right now. And then you have Seattle U with 3 wins. Who is not going to WAC Vegas?
A couple of weeks ago, we would have said it was Seattle.
Yeah.
But even the Red Hawks have made themselves relevant in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I don't know. This is wild to me, how this is all playing out. And it's awesome because there's so much to talk about over the next 2.5 weeks and to pay attention to, because none of these races are decided on the women's side, right? Like that. Yep. It's awesome.
And then we work our way, moving on from the SFA ACU game to the CBU GCU game, which was the day's marquee game. Olivia Lane, what a game on Saturday. 22 and I think it was 7.
Listen, I'm gonna go. I know that she had a big game, and she hit her first 3 of the season in that game late in the fourth quarter. But what I want to talk about is Jared Olson's CBU Lancers. Okay, the fact is they went to overtime and lost a heartbreaker at Utah Valley. Then they have to travel all the way back to Riverside. I know that that Grand Canyon had to travel from Utah Tech to Riverside, but that's a little bit easier than CBU's travel. But they lose Chloe Webb in that game midway through the fourth quarter. They lost Kinsley Barrington in the fourth quarter. They're down Grace Schmidt already. They're down Chloe Lemon. And they led start to finish in that game against GCU. That's pretty impressive right there. And I mean, they hit free throws down the stretch. And I watched that game or listened to while we were driving to St. George or the Cedar City. And I have to say, I was impressed with the fact that, they led start to finish in that ball game. Like that.
Yeah, they led for something on the order of 37 minutes, I think it was.
It was wild. Yeah.
And they started out, I mean, they were up 14 at one point.
And that's after GCU had basically a cakewalk win on Thursday against Utah Tech. So I don't know. I don't want to say a team didn't play up to, didn't maybe came in with a different mindset. Molly Miller said they were ready. They were ready to go. But maybe they saw CBU lose to Utah Valley and they cruised against Utah Tech. And so maybe there was like, we're going to come in and cruise. And CBU was ramped up for that game because CBU got caught looking ahead maybe to GCU on Thursday night. So I don't know. It's interesting. And I'm looking forward to that March 9th game. But yeah, this women's race is awesome. Like, I'm excited for it. I really am.
Oh, yeah. And let's go to the weekly awards. Congratulations, Kyla Deck, as the WAC Player of the Week. And for a third straight week, Gia Adams from UT Arlington, who is slowly playing herself into that Newcomer of the Year discussion.
Yep. Especially with Chloe Lemon sidelined right now with a foot injury. So, Kyla Deck had 34 points in that comeback win over ACU. She was 12 of 17 from the field. That's an efficient 34 points.
Oh, yeah.
Efficient 34 points. She was there was only one other Lady Jack in double figures, Trinity Moore with 13. So, I mean, and Peyton Hull, who is probably the WAC Freshman of the Year on the women's side. She went
we still had that award.
Points. And she could be even in the mix for the Newcomer of the Year. So
it's her. Remember, her and Lemon have 3, and Adams all have 3 each.
Yeah, these end of year awards are gonna be awesome. But big win for Leonard Bishop's crew, big win for Jared Olson's crew.
And let's talk about Tracy Mason's team pulling out that win at Lockhart Arena.
Yeah, another wild game, double overtime. Those games between Utah Valley and Cedars or Southern Utah is going to be really good. Southern Utah swept the season series, so that's good for them. They have a tiebreaker, obviously, over Utah Valley if they end up tied with the same record. So that's a big win, 67-66. I mean, they were down by, I think they were down by 7 or 8 with like 2 minutes to go, if I remember right. I'm going to go look back at it.
That was a game I didn't get to watch. I was actually going to watch that during the week as a WAC Hoops rewatch. It was a 52-43 lead for Utah Valley with 2:41 to go in regulation.
And then Southern Utah was able to tie it up on the three-pointer by Samantha Johnson with 7 seconds left.
And Sam Johnston, man, she's come alive the last couple of weeks.
The crazy thing is in the double overtime period, Utah Valley got the shot they wanted to on an inbounds play. Zoe Nelson had a right-handed layup that she was just a little too strong. She's wide open too. It was a perfect look. She's just too strong, and it hit back iron and fell off, so Southern Utah was able to escape. But, man, Utah Valley could have won that game there. Probably should have won it in regulation. So, wild week for the Wolverines after beating CBU, and playing up tempo, and then they play in regulation, it was 50. Yeah, it was 54-54 in regulation against Southern Utah. That's 2 nights after they scored 92 points against CBU. So, I don't know. This women's race Yeah, it's wild.
And that race for the 8 looks like it's going to come down to the last week.
Yeah. Yep. Which is similar to kind of the men's side too. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Resume seeding. Have we hit resume seeding update?
No, we haven't got there yet. We're just talking about some of these games that happened on Saturday. The other game that happened, a couple other games that happened on Saturday on the women's side. UT Arlington got some revenge against UTRGV with a 16-point win at College Park Center, 71-55 over UTRGV. Utah Tech got a 14-point win at Seattle U. They bounced back from that kind of rough game they had on Thursday against Grand Canyon where they only scored 41 points. So we have a Wednesday game this week. I'm not sure. That's kind of weird. UT Arlington at Southern Utah is on Wednesday. I wonder if there's a conflict or something with the America First Event Center, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to find out what that's all about. So, yeah, we'll get to the schedule in a little bit. We're going to take a 30-second break. Then we're going to come back and answer some questions. If you have any questions, send them our way. We'll talk about them. We're going to talk about some men's games after this 30-second break.
WAC Vegas is back. The best fans, championship basketball, all in exciting Las Vegas. Join us March 13th through the 16th at the Orleans Arena for the 2024 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament. Don't miss the crowning of a men's and women's champion. For more information, go to wacsports.com/WACVegas.
Okay, we're coming back real quick to answer or to take a look at this comment. Dallin Richards, who does some broadcasting for the Southern Utah women, 2A state basketball playoffs are at the AFEC this weekend. That's why there's a Wednesday game. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you, Dallin, for letting us know. They're awesome. Awesome stuff. I'm going to come back to a question here. Cody posted this a little bit ago. Do you think GCU's slow offensive starts will catch up to them in WAC Vegas? You know, that's a good question. We've been saying they were going to catch up to them all season long, and they still haven't. Okay, they had the game at Seattle U where, you know, Seattle U was just on fire. Cam Tyson, that was his first game back after missing like 3.5 games. So, and the Red Hawk Center is not an easy place to play. UT Arlington had GCU on the ropes twice, and GCU was still able to pull things out. California Baptist had GCU on the ropes, and GCU was still able to pull it out. Utah Tech led by 16, and GCU was still able to win a ball game. I want to say I don't think it'll catch up to them in WAC Vegas. I think it'll catch up to them in the NCAA tournament if they end up winning the WAC tournament, because teams have closers in the NCAA tournament. That's why they're in the NCAA tournament. They have closers. Not to say that any of the WAC teams don't. They do, but it's just a different level of closer when you get to the NCAA tournament. So I think, and the way that the Lopes play at Orleans Arena, I don't know. Until somebody stops them or beats them that's not named New Mexico State, I don't think they're going to have a problem at WAC Vegas until somebody shows me that they can stop them in that arena. You know, that's my thing. I think they have a huge test on Thursday in that regard. They lost by 19 at Tarleton last year. They were down by 30 at one point. The game was never even close. So they play on Thursday night at Wisdom Gym, and I think it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be the same game that they played in Phoenix a couple weeks ago or a month ago, where the Lopes rolled the Texans, even though the Texans got off to a pretty good start. I think it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Texans have had a week off. So slow starts, I don't know that they're going to hurt them in WAC Vegas. They could, but the way they play WAC Vegas, I don't think they're going to get off to a slow start. I think that narrative changes when they get in on that bigger stage. So good question, Cody. Appreciate it. Anybody else send some questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? We appreciate them all. We'll answer them here. Daryl, the men's day started off pretty epic itself, along with the women's game. I mean, we had that ACU SFA women's game with SFA coming back to win, a big comeback in the fourth quarter. Well, ACU was down, I think it was by 17 in the second half with about 10 minutes to go on the men's side in Nacogdoches. And Ariane Simmons gave ACU the 1-point win over the Lumberjacks in Nacogdoches with his little floater with 5.1 seconds left. I don't know. And I don't even think the game was within. I don't think the total was over 60 points for either team, if I remember right. Let me look here. Oh, no, 63-62. So they barely got over 60 points. But still, like that happened like 10 minutes after the SFA ACU women ended up, right? Or finished.
Yeah, something like that.
So, like, it's crazy how it happened for the SFA women on the road, and then it happened for the ACU men on the road. And here's the bigger part. The ACU men just play themselves right back into the conversation to get to WAC Vegas because they looked like they were dead to the water. And if they lose at SFA, especially with CBU and GCU coming into town this week, but now they're right in the mix. Like, it's crazy how this is working out.
Yeah, I mean, talk about synchronicity. I actually had that happen in a high school game. I was at a school during the playoffs last year covering softball. They won on a walk-off homer in the 7th. And then I'm interviewing the coach, and the baseball field is literally left field of the baseball field backs onto the first base side of the softball field. Home run down the left field side, the baseball team wins on a walk-off. So I had this.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking of when I was watching that. But, yeah, nice win for Brett Tanner and company.
Yeah, big-time win.
And a much-needed win.
Yes.
But Kyle Keller, man, they've lost, 3 games in the final 30 seconds this year?
Yeah, it's been rough.
Play.
They've also won a few in the last seconds, too. But, no, you're right. Like, they lost, who was it, GCU on that final play. What was the other one? CBU on the final play. And now ACU. All 3 at home, too. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that from a team at home. Let's get to some questions here, some good ones, actually. Adam Monks, Utah Tech fan, big Utah Tech fan. Where do you see the Utah Tech playing out? I have them getting into the WAC tournament as the 8 seed. They have a tough stretch. They still have to play UT Arlington at College Park Center. They have to finish up at UTRGV and at SFA. So tough stretch there. But I have them in as the 8 seed right now. I think John Judkins' crew get it done. They've been so close. They should have beat Seattle U Saturday night, but that epic, Kobe Williamson shot. So I have them as the 8 seed. I have them getting into the WAC tournament in that final 8 spot and then being the 8th seed because they're so far down in the WAC resume seating. Josh Showers, I'm so happy that you're tuned in, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm going to get you on this podcast sometime this week, probably. So I love that you're tuning in. Taking away GCU, who do teams not want to face first round / quarters of the WAC tourney? As a biased radio guy, I'm kind of – he didn't say biased radio guy. I threw that in, but I'm kind of feeling it's UTA. So I 100% agree with you. I am on that UTA bandwagon. I think with Philip Russell, Dejuan Gordon is playing lights out right now. Shamar Wilson. They had, 13 guys score a point against UTRGV on Saturday? Everybody that played scored a point. Chauncey Gibson is now eligible. So they've got another scorer, another big guard that they could throw out there. Makai Williams could be the newcomer of the year, maybe the freshman of the year, maybe a player of the year in that discussion. He's been playing really well right now. So UT Arlington, they can shoot the 3. That's a big thing, Daryl. They can shoot the 3. And I think that is a big – I don't think anybody wants to see the Mavs. I think I predicted that they might be the 4 seed. I could see them being the 3 seed depending on what happens with Seattle down the stretch here. And if UTA could win out, maybe. Because UTA still has to go to Utah Valley, still have to go to Seattle. So they could play themselves into that 3 seed. I really think that they could. So great question. UTA is a big one. Who else? Seattle U. Obviously, I don't think anybody wants to see Seattle U. Cam Tyson can shoot it. John Christophilus is the newcomer of the week after averaging 18 points in the 2 wins over Southern Utah and Utah Tech this week. They have bigs in Bratton Chatfield. You've seen Kobe Williamson, what he can do. Alex Schumacher, you got a firsthand look at him, Josh, when they came to UT Arlington when Cam Tyson was out. He is one of the best point guards in the league. So keep an eye on those 2 teams are going to be the 3-4 seeds unless Tarleton stumbles down the stretch here. But I don't think anybody wants to see either UTA or Seattle U. I'm gonna be honest about that.
Kyle, can I make an argument for the CBU men without Dom Daniels if they can figure out how to score without him?
Yeah,
like they did on Saturday.
That's a good point. If they can attack like they did on Saturday at GCU, it's all a mindset for them. I think when they're playing up, playing a team that maybe is better than them, they get up for it. When they play a team that may be on the same equal, I don't think they get up as much for them. So we'll see what happens there. They have a tough stretch too here. They go to Tarleton and ACU. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know. I have them. I think I put them as the 6 seed.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So I still think they get in, but Blondo Chiqueno is going to have to do what he did offensively, night in and night out, that he did at GCU. He has to for them to be good. Just have to.
And then the other, if SFA, for me, the SFA men, if they can put it all together, that's a team. If I'm 1 or 2, I don't want to face on Friday.
They're in,
but
I don't get me wrong. I love my Lumberjack fans. They're awesome. Alex, Jacqueline, I hope that you come to WAC Vegas regardless of what happens. I hope you're watching this, but they're in trouble. I say that with all due respect, okay? But they have to go to Seattle, to Utah Valley, to CBU, and to GCU over the next 2 weeks.
Tell me how with a 4-game roadie.
Tell me how many games they are winning in that road game, in that road trip.
I don't know if I see more than 2.
I don't know if they see 2. Who are they beating?
CBU if they're lucky. And the way the first game ended in Nacogdoches, they're going to be out for the Lancers.
Sure, but that's still a long road trip because you're going to Seattle, Utah Valley, then you're going back to NAC unless they stay out here, and then you have to come all the way back to California or Phoenix, whichever one's first. Like that's, I'm telling you, SFA is in some trouble unless somehow they pull it off. If they split the weekend, if they split this 4-game road trip,
that's a victory.
They're in. Yeah, they're in. Period. No offense or buts about that. But yeah. Here's the thing. Kyle Keller the Jacks haven't been home the last 2 years to end the regular season. They beat New Mexico State in Las Cruces in 2022. And then they went to UTRGV, blew out UTRGV by 30 to win the share of the WAC regular season title. And then they came straight to Vegas. They didn't go home. And then last year, they finished at Utah Valley, got throttled by Utah Valley 2 days after having to play Sam Houston. And then they went straight to Vegas from Orem. So he wanted to be home to end the regular season. Well, he got his wish, but he also got a 4-game road trip ahead of those final 2 home games.
That's one heck of a roadie to have to go through to get those last 2 at home.
Yeah. And then you get Southern Utah and Utah Tech at home, and Utah Tech's already beat SFA. Oh, it's wild, man. It's crazy. So, it's crazy. It's wild. So I think SFA, they have a chance to play their way in. They control their own destiny, but they're also in trouble. I'm hoping that they're able to pull something out over the next 4 games, but all 4 of those places are extremely difficult to play at. All of them.
Oh, yeah.
Utah Valley has 1 home loss this year. Seattle U has 1 home loss this year. GCU hasn't lost at home yet. TBU has a couple, but I mean, still, like those are hard places to play. I don't know. I think the race for the regular season title is all but locked up for GCU. I mean, even if Tarleton beats them, that cuts the lead down to 1, right, for the Lopes. But I don't know if I see them losing the rest of the season because I believe they get a week off after this trip to Tarleton, if I remember right. They have their bye, don't they?
No. They shouldn't get the bye if it's the same for the men and the women until the very end.
Oh no, they come back home to host UTRGV after they play. No, that's not right. Let me see here. Oh no, they go to Abilene Christian. Excuse me, they go to Abilene Christian, and then they host UTRGV on Thursday before having. Where is their bye? Their second bye isn't until March 7th. Okay, that makes sense. But either way, I think it's all locked up because Grand Canyon returns home to host UTRGV and SFA next week. So,
officially, they can clinch next week if they don't lose to Tarleton.
Yeah, or if Tarleton doesn't lose to CBU on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. It's a wild thing. UT Arlington's could play themselves in the 3 seed. Like I said, they host Southern Utah this week on Thursday. Then they host Utah Tech on Saturday, and then they go to Seattle U next Thursday and to Utah Valley next Saturday, the 29th. Or March 2nd, excuse me. So they could play themselves right into the 3 seed if they win 4 straight. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts if they win 4 straight. So we'll see what happens. We're going to take a 30-second break. We'll come back, take a look at the resume seating system that really doesn't matter at this point because everybody's still trying to clinch their spot for WAC Vegas. So we'll be right back in 30 seconds. Send us your questions if you have any, and we'll answer them right here on the Straight Outta WAC After Hours show.
WAC Vegas is back. The best fans, championship basketball, all in exciting Las Vegas. Join us March 13th through the 16th at the Orleans Arena for the 2024 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament. Don't miss the crowning of a men's and women's champion. For more information, go to wacsports.com/WAC Vegas.
Sorry, just putting out a tweet. Come ask your questions, everybody. If you're tuning in, we are having a great time here talking about some WAC hoops. We've already talked about some epic finishes. We've talked about the standings. We've talked about WAC Vegas. Now it's time to take our usual look at the WAC resume seating. We'll start with the men's. Now, here's the thing that I want everybody to remember, and you should know this already because this is year 2 of this. And I've been spouting off about it for like the last 2 years since finding out how it works. Who gets into WAC Vegas is determined by the regular season standings, their record in WAC play. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to tell you this right now. So we'll go over this. Let me share it. Sorry, guys. I'm coming. Here it is. Share my screen. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you want to share a comment, let us know. It's always good to hear from you. We've had some good ones tonight. So right now, as it stands on the men's side, okay, you have Grand Canyon, Tarleton, Seattle U, UT Arlington, California Baptist, Stephen F. Austin, Utah Valley, and Utah Tech. Those are the teams that would be in WAC Vegas if it started tomorrow. The top 8 teams, okay? Now, if we go to the resume seeding system, this is what determines your seed for the WAC tournament, not if you get into the WAC tournament. The only way that this seeding system determines if you get into WAC Vegas is if two teams tie for that A spot, like let's say that Abilene Christian and Utah Tech were tied at 6-9 right now, and they had split their season series, it would come down to who was rated higher in the WAC resume seeding system. Obviously, you can see that Abilene Christian would be in over the Trailblazers in that situation. Okay, so the seeding system doesn't matter right now. Don't even look at it. Don't even care about it until we figure out who's going to WAC Vegas. It's fun to speculate. Like right now, UT Arlington's sitting in the 4 spot, but they got to win some games, right? Utah Valley sitting in 6. They've won 3 in a row. They've got to win some games. They have UTRGV and SFA at home. Tarleton, GCU. GCU's got the 1 seed locked up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Tarleton is close to locking that up. If they beat GCU on Thursday, they will lock up that 2 seed. There's no way that Seattle U could catch them, regardless. At least I think. I would have to do the math, but I would really think. So, yeah, this seeding system does not determine who goes to WAC Vegas outside of that 8th spot. And if 2 teams are tied for that 8th spot in the WAC standings, it would come down to, and they've split the season series, it would come down to who the higher seeded team is in the resume seeding system. On the flip note with that, if Tarleton or Utah Tech on both the men's and the women's side were able to win the WAC tournament this year, the highest seeded team in the resume seeding system will represent the WAC at the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, that's how that works out. But anyways, here's a look at it. It's Grand Canyon, Tarleton, Seattle U. That's the men's side. We're going to look at the women's side. Look at the standings first. You can see GCU and CBU. Like we said, Grand Canyon, what do we say it was? March 2nd is when their second bye happens?
March 7th, the Thursday of the last week of the regular season.
Okay, so they get a week off before they host California Baptist. That makes sense. And then Stephen F. Austin, 10-4. You got Utah Tech and UT Arlington right here, 9-6. Abilene Christian, 7-7. And then you've got this mess here for the final 2 spots into the WAC tournament. Southern Utah obviously owns the tiebreaker over Utah Valley because of the season sweep. Yeah, there's a lot of basketball to be played here. I think Grand Canyon, California Baptist have clinched their spot at WAC Vegas. So has Tarleton and Grand Canyon on the men's side. I'm going to say that, let's see, Stephen F. Austin has 6 games left. These other teams have 6 games left.
They should this week.
If SFA wins on, do they play on Thursday or do they? Yeah, they play Thursday against Seattle U. So the Lady Jacks could clinch on Thursday with the win over the Red Hawks. Their spot in WAC Vegas. Utah Tech, they host, is it Abilene Christian or Tarleton?
No, Abilene Christian and Tarleton are at GCU and at CBU this week.
CBU, that's right. Utah Tech, I think, has a week off. Let's look. They don't play till the 24th, where they host UT Arlington. Okay, so they don't play till Saturday. So a couple teams could clinch, but at least SFA could clinch on Saturday. So we'll see if they can do that. Let's go to the WAC resume seeding system. Again, right now, Grand Canyon, California Baptist, SFA, Lady Jacks, UT Arlington, Lady Mavs, Utah Tech, Abilene Christian. Utah Valley would not be in the WAC tournament right now. Well, let me take that back. Have they played Tarleton twice? They only played them once, right?
Yeah, as far as I remember.
Tarleton beat them, if I remember right. Oh, no, it was a win for Utah Valley. No. Tarleton beat them 60-55. So Tarleton would... Wait, have they played twice? They haven't played twice.
No, they shouldn't have played twice.
They've only played once. So as of right now, if the WAC tournament were to start today, Tarleton is ahead of Utah Valley in the standings. So Tarleton would be the 8th seed. Southern Utah would be the 7th seed because Southern Utah owns a tiebreaker over Utah Valley for the season sweep. It's all confusing, isn't it, guys? Like, just
Well, I
Anyways,
just wanted to
let's go
highlight
there.
that 0.2 difference at the top between GCU
Yeah,
and CB.
that closed really quite a bit there. So that 1 seed is still up for grabs on the women's side. And then you got SFA kind of lingering here with 6 games to play. So, oh my goodness. Oh, good times. I'm going to stop sharing, guys. Everybody send some questions if you have some. I think we got a couple more. Let's look at some of these. Alan Easterling, let's hear what we got to see. GCU 1 seed, they lose their first game. Tarleton and Utah Tech win Vegas, who is the AQ, second place Vegas team or highest ranked GCU. Like we mentioned, the highest rated team in the resume seeding system, so it would be GCU as the 1 seed if they were to lose in the WAC tournament. So they will play on Friday in the WAC semifinals. Seattle U and UT Arlington aren't catching them. So they'll play either be the 1 or 2. Here's the interesting thing, Daryl, and I want to point this out. Does GCU want to be the 1 or the 2? Because either way, you're playing on Friday. But if you're the 2 seed, you're playing on, what was it, ESPNU, if I remember right?
Yeah.
Whereas the first semifinal, where the 1 seed is playing on ESPN Plus. What do you think, WAC fans or basketball fans? Should GCU just play for the 2 seed and play on ESPNU on Friday night, or should they still play for the 1 seed and just whatever? I mean, they're playing for the regular season outright title, so I don't think they could lose the 1 seed even if they tried right now. But I'm just saying, it's just a thought.
Honestly, I think Bryce Drew would take the regular season pennant over the ESPNU semifinal game.
Especially since it would be their first outright title in the Division I era. So, because they had to share the one in 2021. Is that right?
Yeah, the COVID year?
Yeah, the COVID year, when they had to share it with Utah Valley because they didn't sweep the Wolverines in Phoenix like they should have to end the regular season. So, yeah, let's go to Adam. You asked what about women's Utah Tech?
They're still hanging on to the 4, or at least
they're gonna
5 in the resume seeding.
Play on Thursday as a 3-4 seed. Maybe they're in that mix. They're a little behind UT Arlington. They've got a big week coming up. They host UT Arlington on Saturday. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, Saturday.
They host UT Arlington on Saturday, and then they go to Tarleton, Abilene Christian. Then they host UTRGV, and they host SFA to end the regular season, which could be a potential 3-4 game, right? Like they could play themselves into that 3 or 4 seed. So, Adam, I don't know. I hope Utah Tech, they're so banged up. They've been banged up all season. Emily Isaacson out for the season. Was it Macy Warren out for the season now?
No Amber Karchner.
Brianna Gillen missed time due to concussion. So I don't know if they'll play themselves into that 3-4 spot, but they have the chance to with the games that they have coming up. Let's just put it that way. If they get a win against UT Arlington, if they can win out, I think they'll play it on Thursday in that 3-4 game. If they can't, I don't think they're going to make it into that 3-4 seed. So we'll see what happens. Let's go to Mikey Chavez. We're going to answer some questions here as we ramp this show down. It's been a great show tonight. We've been talking quite a bit about the standings, what we see with teams. Mikey Chavez, thanks for tuning in, man. You appreciate all the support. GCU has been relying on their bench production lately. Any concern around their starters slowing down? Seems like teams are trying to take time away. No, because they keep winning. And 2, they're finally getting that bench production that they didn't have early on in the season. So there's more trust there. Luke Ward has been fantastic. Javon Blackshear is finally getting back to being Javon Blackshear. No, I don't think there's any concern there right now. I think he trusts his guys. He knows his rotation, and there's trust all around with that team. So, teams are trying to take away certain players. That'll happen. But as long as they get that consistent bench production that they have over the last couple weeks, they're going to be just fine. You can't really slow down a team with like 8 or 9 guys that can score in bunches. And we've seen that from Luke War. We've seen that from Javon Blackshear. Ray Harrison has his moments. Gabe McLaughlin, like, who do you stop? Even if you slow down Ty, you're still going to have to put up with – I mean, we saw it in the WAC tournament last year, right? Ray Harrison had a big game in the first game against UT Arlington. Then he didn't have a big game, and Gabe McLaughlin went out for 30 points. And then you saw in the WAC semifinal against Sam Houston where it was Kobe Knox and Chance McMillian that went off. And then in the championship game, you saw Ray Harrison go off as well as Noel Bauman. This is a similar team, but with a little bit more athleticism and size. So, no, not much concern with the starters maybe slowing down a bit just because they're getting that bench production now, and there's more trust. And he confirms your thought, Daryl. ESPN games would be nice, but banners are better. Yes, 100% agree. And Adam, I just want to share your comment. Thanks for the show. Thank you guys. Good show. Thanks for tuning in, Adam. Appreciate it as always. I have talked so much on this show, Daryl. Where have you been?
Let's. I got a little nugget from women's bracketology to share as we're winding this thing down.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, 2 bracketology outlets. They're both using GCU as the WAC regular season champion and NCAA tournament representative.
Okay.
Her Hoop Stats has GCU playing UConn in Albany as part of the Albany site. But ESPN's Charlie Cream, this is a little juicy one for our SFA and GCU friends. ESPN's Charlie Cream has the GCU women in Los Angeles against USC. Also being assigned to that Los Angeles regional is West Virginia. So Charlie Cream of ESPN.
Harrison.
So Charlie Cream projects that a potential Molly Miller-Mark Kellogg rematch could occur in the NCAA tournament if they both win their first round game.
That might be kind of wild. Mark Kellogg's done a great job at West Virginia since taking over there.
Absolutely.
That's the same success that he always talked about. Man, he has just ramped that up at West Virginia. So that'd be awesome if it happened. I don't think it will, but it'd be awesome if it happened. So, yeah. Oh, good times. Good times. Everybody, we appreciate the time. We've been going for about 50 minutes now. Straight Out WAC After Hours. These things are awesome. I love the comments that we get, the questions, the support, the viewers. Let's keep it up. Maybe we should do this on a regular basis instead of just Thursday and Saturday. I don't know. This is fun. I enjoy this. Maybe we'll do it on Wednesday again because there's a women's game on Wednesday. So why not? Let's do it on Wednesday. We'll see you on Wednesday. We'll see you on Thursday. I'm going to be doing it from the UCCU Center on Thursday after the game. And depending on who wins the game, I may have a special guest sitting right next to me in our After Hours segment, Daryl. So be on the lookout, everybody. Appreciate it. Hit the like, subscribe button. If you're following along on YouTube, some of you are. It's awesome. Daryl, enjoy the rain in Riverside. I'm going to enjoy the sun that's been showing us nice little face lately here in Utah. And we will see you all on the next episode of Straight Out WAC After Hours. And have a great rest of your evening, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.